Hi, welcome back. My name is Cameron, and this is Wrestling with Words. Today's video is going to be a little bit more laid back than my usual videos. I want this to sort of be the first of probably a series of other videos that we'll end up doing for this channel. But as you probably guessed by the title of this video and card behind me, this is the announcement and the first video in the Wrestling with Words reading club. Before I talk about what I intend to read this month, let's first talk a little bit about what my intentions are and what my goals are for the Wrestling with Words reading club. My goal is to read more work done by the viewers, hopefully encourage you all to read each other's works. I know one of the hardest parts about writing is then marketing and getting your work in front of other people. And I guess this is sort of a way for me to help promote the work that might not have gotten the attention it deserves. We'll go over a little bit more later or in a different video on how we're going to implement the choosing system. But for right now, the reading club will be open to anyone who has published their work. Why we're calling it a reading club and not a book club is that I do want to include short stories and novellas in our mix for what we plan on reading as a community. I think that short stories and short form fiction are some of the most underrated and underrepresented and slept on pieces of fiction. There's some really, really powerful, really great short stories that are being written and published every day. And so many young writers and so many early writers in their career start out writing short fiction. So looking forward to including those also in our list of what to include in our reading club. I'm well aware of the problems that this might have later on down the road for scalability, and I can see this kind of spiraling out of control or have there be a couple of hiccups that might hurt this group. But I think that those are going to be problems that we'll solve later down the road and we'll kind of approach as a community. So the structure of how this is going to work and kind of how we'll determine what we're going to read or what I'll read hasn't really been hammered out yet. I'll probably do a longer form video going over what my intentions are and what my plan is and how it'll be structured, both from my end on reading and on your end of submitting your works. So in the future, I'll be either doing a poll or leaving instructions in another video or possibly like on my Twitter or the community page. However, that does lead us to what I'm going to read for this next coming month. And this is really as a way to follow along, and maybe we can read things together, or we can read things that maybe we haven't thought of or thought to read before. I typically write in the science fiction, fantasy, horror, and speculative fiction genres, sometimes dabbling in other subgenres. But typically those are the ones that I write in as well as read in. And a big goal of mine is to try to read outside of my own genre. I think there's a lot that we can learn from reading outside of the genre that we traditionally write in or read in. And it should be noted that we all should read within the genre that we write, but there are benefits to reading outside of that genre as well. For instance, it might be beneficial to read romance if you want to include some kind of romance subplot in your fantasy or science fiction novel. There's plenty of crossovers for these different genres, and reading is much like studying for the writer. The first book that I'm going to bring up is one that I'm not going to be reading this month, but we'll be reading the following month. I've read most of the series, and so this one is one of the last ones in the series, if not the last one in the series. And that is The Network Effect. The Network Effect is one of the last books in the Murderbot Diaries series. If you haven't read those yet, I highly encourage you to do so. All of the stories leading up to this one are all novellas. So they're really, really quick read, and they're really, really good. I like seeing the popularity rise of short stories and novellas. Recently, there's been a lot of attention and a lot of marketability of novellas and short stories, kind of in the publishing industry. So it's good to see a short story or novella kind of becoming a full-length novel. So that one I'm going to be reading next month, but if you want to get caught up, you can read that one this month. The first one on my list is a nonfiction book that I know a little bit about already. It's been recommended to me by a couple of people, and that is The Gift of Fear. The Gift of Fear is one that isn't necessarily writing related, but I think that it's still beneficial on a personal level, but also kind of understanding fear and understanding human psychology in that regard. I think books like these are great to kind of add to your arsenal of reading. The next book on my list is one that is a reread for me, but I always recommend this one to clients of mine that I'm working on their manuscripts or that I'm coaching, and that is 90 Days to Your Novel. 90 Days to Your Novel is a really, really great book for helping you outline and plan out your actually writing your novel. There's a ton of great exercises and assignments in it, and I can't recommend it enough. I'm really looking forward to going back and rereading it and kind of re-engaging some of those exercises and some of those assignments into some of my current ongoing projects. The last book that's on my reading list for this month is one that is well outside my genre. I don't know that much about, but I've been recommended by a number of people, and that is Lessons in Chemistry. Again, I don't know too much about it right now, but I've heard really, really great things. I'm looking forward to reading it. I believe I'm borrowing my wife's copy, so she is one of the people that recommended this to me. And that's it. Those are the books that I plan on reading for this month. I'll try to get through those, and then if I include another one or if I get to another one, I'll probably bring that up. Let me know if you've read those books or if you plan on reading those this month as well. I'm curious to hear what your thoughts are on these and what you're reading right now. I'm always looking to extend my to-be read list, but I think that it's about time that I start picking away at it as well. As I'll say, thank you for watching. Be on the lookout for the next video where we'll talk a little bit more in detail about what we intend to do for the reading club. And if you have something published or if you have any short stories or short fiction out there that haven't gotten looked at or have gotten looked at and you want to share kind of with us over here in our corner of the internet, feel free to do that. We'll probably add some sort of parameters around how to submit, just so that we don't get flooded or spammed, and that we get people that are submitting that are also kind of engaging with the community. So I look forward to sharing a little more about that with you. But let me know what you're wrestling with. And let me know what you're reading. I always want to hear from the community and hear from all of you, because that is partially how we get ideas of what to make videos on and what to include in our channel. So thank you for watching. Let me know if you've read any of these books, and I will see you next time.